Welcome to Mental Models Daily, where we explore one mental model each day to help you elevate your daily decision-making. Today, we're exploring a fascinating cognitive bias that affects decision-making in finance, economics, and everyday life. The gambler's fallacy. The gambler's fallacy is the mistaken belief that if something happens more frequently than normal during a given period, it will happen less frequently in the future, or vice versa. It's like thinking that after a coin lands on heads 5 times in a row, it's due for tails, even though each flip remains an independent event with the same 50/50 probability. Let's look at a historical example from Britain's National Lottery in the 1990s. In November 1995, the numbers 7, 17, 23, 32, 38, 42 had been drawn. When these exact same numbers were drawn again just 2 weeks later, numerous players had abandoned these numbers, believing they couldn't possibly come up again so soon. This perfectly illustrates the gambler's fallacy. The players who avoided these numbers were incorrectly assuming that recent past events would influence future random draws. As a result, those few who did select these numbers the second time won much larger shares of the prize pool. It's like people were trying to outsmart randomness itself, only to be reminded that each draw is completely independent. In modern business and economics, we see the gambler's fallacy affecting hiring decisions in fascinating ways. A study published in Psychological Science examined over 9,000 loan officers at a major bank and found that after approving several loans in a row, officers became increasingly likely to reject the next application, even when the application's quality remained constant. They subconsciously believed they were due for a rejection, letting this bias affect their professional judgment. This pattern actually decreased the bank's overall decision-making accuracy and potentially cost them valuable customers. It's like having an internal pendulum that swings too far in the opposite direction, even when the data suggests staying the course. So how can we apply our understanding of the gambler's fallacy to make better decisions in our daily lives? First, we can improve our investment strategy by recognizing that market movements are largely independent events. Just because a stock has fallen for several days doesn't mean it's due for a rise. Each day's trading is influenced by new information and market conditions. It's like treating each day in the market as a fresh start. Second, we can enhance our business decision-making by avoiding the trap of thinking that a string of successes or failures predicts future outcomes. Each business opportunity, client meeting or project should be evaluated on its own merits. It's like wiping the slate clean for each new venture rather than being overly influenced by past patterns. Third, we can apply this understanding to risk assessment in both personal and professional contexts. Whether you're considering insurance policies or evaluating business risks, remember that past events don't necessarily predict future probabilities. It's like having a clear lens through which to view probability, unclouded by misconceptions about patterns. In conclusion, understanding the gambler's fallacy helps us avoid common decision-making traps in finance, business, and daily life. By recognizing that independent events remain independent regardless of past outcomes, we can make more rational, data-driven decisions and avoid being swayed by illusory patterns. Thank you for joining me today on Mental Models Daily. Until next time, may your decisions be rational, your analysis be clear, and your understanding of probability be sound. For more mental models, please visit mentalmodelsdaily.com or find us on X or Instagram. Our podcast music was provided by the podcasthost.com and Alitu, the podcast maker. Find your own free podcast music over at thepodcasthost.com/free music.